Concerning the seed of David and the heavenly aspects of his inheritance. The promises to the seed of David are elaborated in a few places. The primary place is the passage that is known as the Davidic covenant. David, a man after God's heart, wanted to build a house for God, which is one of the chief reasons that he was said to be a man after God's heart. He looked like Abraham to a city whose builder and maker is God, and understood that the end of God's program is to have a habitation among men. Amen. Even though David was a sinner, his hope was in God, and when you look at his life, you will see that the peak times when he was most full of joy was always related to the tabernacle and the presence of God. See Psalms 27:4 and 65:4, 84, 1 through 2, 122:1, and 132:7. Psalm 30:11 through 12. Thou hast turned from me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever. Amen. 2 Samuel 6:14 through 15. And David danced before the Lord with all his might, and David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. In 2 Samuel 7, David wanted to build God a house. God spoke to him through Nathan, the prophet, and said that he would not build the house, but his seed would build a house for him. This seed is Christ, and the promises concerning the seed are the basis of what is called the Davidic covenant, which is not a biblical term, but is a term theologians use to describe it. 2 Samuel 7:7 through 17. In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, Why build ye not me a house of cedar? Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, Thus said the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I was with thee whithersoever thou went, and have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more, as before time, and as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thy enemies. Also the Lord tells thee that he will make thee a house, and when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. And thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. According to all these words, and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. One of the promises of the seed of David was that he would be the Son of God, and God would be to him a father. 2 Samuel 7:14. We know that Christ is the Son of God according to his divinity. The demons knew this and cried out. The demons knew this and cried out. The demons cried out, "We know who you are, the Son of God." Mark 5:7. But according to his humanity, he was born of a woman. Hebrews says, because the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he partook of the same. Hebrews 2:14. He became a genuine man in the flesh, and this man was the last Adam, the seed of Abraham, the seed of David, and certain promises were made to that man. One of them was the sonship in his resurrection by the Spirit of holiness. He was declared with power to be the Son of God. Amen. The word declared, horizo, means designated. I once read a commentary that likened Jesus to a seed with the label Son of God. Just as a seed for a rose bush may not appear to be a rose bush until it is planted in the ground or in the earth and dies to eventually sprout in resurrection as a new and glorious form, so too did Jesus blossom in resurrection according to his designation as the Son of God. Amen. Jesus said, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it abides alone. But if it dies, it yields much fruit. John 12:24. Christ was planted in the earth as the seed of David, the man who died. Although appearing as a man on the outside, on the inside, he is the divine Son of God with an incorruptible life dwelling in the Father and having the Father dwell in him. His death, like a grain of wheat, was intended to release and multiply this life. Just as the outer shell of a grain of wheat breaks open to release its life, so too did his death and resurrection release his inner life. Amen. This divine life first clothed his earthly shell, his humanity, and transfigured it with his divinity, bringing it into sonship and transforming its form in his resurrection. His resurrection resulted in an incorruptible and heavenly form, the first product of a fruitful harvest, many sons of God who would be conformed to his image and glorified. Romans 8:28-29. Amen. The Jews were familiar with the early promises made to Christ concerning his throne and his resurrection, but Paul associates the position of the church with the heavenly aspects of the promises made to Christ, which are referred to in what is called the Davidic covenant, and also are vowed to him in Psalm 2 and Psalm 110. The implications of the Davidic covenant for our understanding of the New Testament teachings of salvation are profound. The promises made to Christ, the seed of David, are rooted in both earthly and heavenly realities, and they foreshadow the position of the church as co-heirs with Christ. Amen. The Jewish people, familiar with the promises concerning Christ's earthly throne and resurrection, anticipated an earthly kingdom. However, Paul's teachings illuminate the heavenly aspect of these promises, which outline the church's spiritual blessings and position in the heavenly realms. Here is a brief review of the promises, and I will attempt to categorize them as earthly versus heavenly. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm out of breath. We'll continue this next day.